Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Wood, journalist at Africa Print and Sign Africa, and today I'll be interviewing Ken Leid, National Training and Development Director at Printing SA. Printing SA, in partnership with the Fibre Processing and Manufacturing FPNM CETA and the Quality Council for Trade and Occupation, QCTO, hosted a free qualification scoping webinar and recently highlighted the training development processes as well as the training needs of the various sectors of the industry in the webinar. So welcome, Ken, and I'm just going to start off my first question with regards to the poll outcome from the training webinar you did during October. What areas are people most interested in?
Good afternoon, Matthew. Yes, thank you. The webinar, which I was surprisingly happy that we had about 74 people attending, they were presented with the top 10 of a survey that we had conducted prior to the scoping webinar. And the poll during the webinar came up with the top 5 that qualifications that Printing SA in partnership with the FPNM CETA needs to develop. And the top occupation there was the commercial digital printer. Then we had, interestingly enough, we had the sales representative, that's the printing and packaging sales representative, came in as second priority. And then your third was the print cost estimator. And then fourthly, quite surprisingly, in the flexible packaging industry, you have an old trade called the laminator. And laminating came up fourth, with roll label machine technician coming in fifth. So those 5 are the qualifications that industry and stakeholders within the industry are saying we need to develop those and roll those out. Thank you.
And what is the process for these areas of interest being implemented? Is it still ongoing, and will this be finalized?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it all started with funding application. So to develop a qualification, you're looking in over R1 million worth of investment going into into such a development. So this is where the partnership with the CETA comes. So Printing SA made application for funding for the development of 5 qualifications, and we were successful in that application. The next step in that process is to enter into an agreement with the QCTO to have them agree as the national body or the national council to have these developed. So we have to prove to them this is not something that FPNM CETA wants or that Printing SA wants. If this is something that the industry desires, and there has to be a rationale for that. So I've actually just today finished that rationale and have submitted that to the FPNM CETA. So the service level agreement that they need to enter into the QCTO is the next step. Once that's done, the 3 of us need to get together and put together a project plan. So the project plan will set out when we are going to appoint a facilitator. They call these people a qualification development facilitator. That person gets appointed. And that person who's obviously qualified to do this takes us through the process of establishing a community of expert practitioners. That's a working group of experts, subject matter experts in these fields, in these 5 areas that we spoke about. And that working group would then work together with that facilitator and with myself to ensure that those qualifications were properly developed and then submitted to the QCTO for approval. Once those are approved, then it goes to SAQA, that's the South African Qualifications Authority, and they will register those new qualifications on the National Qualifications Framework, the NQF. Once that's done, the final stage is to get hold of the National Artisan Moderation Body in the cases of the laminating and roll label trades, and have the trade test and the new Artisan Recognition of Prior Learning toolkit developed. Then we can develop learning material, and then we implement. And that can be a very, very lengthy process. The 2 or the 3 occupations, the digital printer, the sales rep, and the print cost estimator, are non-trades. So the what they call the DQP, the development quality part, the AQP, sorry, the assessment quality partner would be the CETA in those instances. So who provides the assessment, the final assessment, would be the FP&M CETA in the case of those three. And yeah, I envisage, or the project plan to have submission to the QCTO should be before the end of next year. How long SACWA takes to register it, in the past, they've taken years to get the registration done. So it's very frustrating. But yeah, we have a plan around that as well. So we launch a lot of these programs well before the SACWA registration takes place.
Okay, and what other new training priorities is Printing SA busy with?
Yeah, well, thanks, Matthew. We've done, over the last year, we've done quite a bit of soul searching, looking at speaking to our members to find out exactly what their training needs are, hence the scoping session. But we've also identified through, we've been busy since November 2014, have been busy developing 12 other trades. And those 12 trades are at different stages of registration with SACWA. But what we've done is we've highlighted a number of what we're calling short learning programs that we'll be launching during the course of next year based on the needs of industry, what industry are telling us these are priority. The first in that new series of courses is the digital die cutting and creasing operator. So that is going to be a skills program. When it's a skills program, it's an integration of skills, knowledge, and experience. Obviously, Printing SA provides the knowledge module. So you'll see early in April, the 7th and 8th to be exact, the first knowledge module for the digital die cutting and creasing machine operator takes off. So those companies that have these machines that are used for signage, are used for carton sample making, etc., an area that's never been covered before, will be able to do that. That aligns to our new qualification of carton making, which will be launched before the end of next year. So that we trust, well, that is already registered on SACWA, but the parts, which this forms part of, are not yet registered. So it's a process of arguing and barging with them to get that done. The other priority program is the the die cutting and creasing program. This is your autoplaten type operator. We again have knowledge modules, we have practical modules, we have workplace experience modules. So it's an integrated skills program. Participating companies will receive standard operating procedures, assessment instruments, and logbooks for all of the programs that I'm going to mention. The carton folder gluer machine operator will also launch next year. That's in May. Then you've got a sheet-fed lithographer's assistant program. Now we've developed the sheet-fed lithographer new trade that is registered on the NQF, ready for launching, trade tests developed. Everything's ready to go. It's just this assistant that hasn't yet been registered that's holding us back there. So by April next year, our learning material and our learning program for that new trade will launch, but so too will this assistant program. So assistant on the press will actually get a qualification, which is awesome. Then I'll rattle through the rest because there's quite a lengthy list. There's the flexographic plate maker program. There's the flexographic plate mounter program, the litho plate maker program. Now the plate maker program is aligned to the new electronic pre-press technician qualifications that we plan to launch early in 2022. And then you have your saddle stitching and your adhesive binding programs. They just follow suit of the very successful guillotine operator and folding machine operator programs that we've launched already. So what you'll see in August next year is that the whole soft cover bookbinding technician qualification will also register, and you'll have proper occupational qualifications for each one of those: guillotine, folding, saddle stitching, and adhesive binding on their own. Add our new team leader program to that, and you've got everything you need to become an artisan, gain access to the new trade test. So we have this career pathing in mind. And finally, the real stand operator, that's for your web-fed lithographic presses. like your heat set operations and your cold set operations. The real stand operator in those instances would be able to get his own qualification as well. So those are the awesome new programs that we are running. And finally, by tomorrow, the RFP that we sent out for the Adobe Creative Suite training that we're going to be launching next year will be due. So I know we have had interest shown, and we've had at least one very detailed RFP coming in, but we will be launching all the Creative Suite essentials, intermediate, advanced, and early in 2022, you'll see the launch of color correction and color retouching, as well as a design for packaging. So we've been doing an immense amount of work in lockdown, and most of what we do is going to be going either into an online space, but these learning programs, because of their very practical nature, they will more than likely still be face-to-face. But we'll see the number of learners we get registering into these programs. So I just say to people, go online. This new training prospectus is available, but it will also we'll be punting them, all these new programs, via our website, and registration will take place nationally via our website in the future as well.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, Ken. And
awesome, thank you.
The latest printing and signage news on www.africaprint.com or www.signafrica.com. Ken, thank you very much once again. And everybody out there, please take care and keep safe.
Thank you, Matthew. Cheers for now.
Cheers.